Hello, good evening, and welcome to what got Kerry back here. Kerry,
Hello.
each, every time you come on every month, it's nice seeing you.
Thank you.
You got a cheery face, cheery smile, and we all. It's like it's like sitting in the garden watching all the roses come out.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That's very sweet.
Now the trouble is, I want to do this every time. I don't tell you the title, do I?
Mm-hmm.
I don't never tell you what the title is unless I advertise it.
Mm.
But what I want to do tonight is talk about when it's when is it time to put your pet to sleep.
Right.
That's what I really want to talk about.
Okay.
All right, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it's sad, isn't it?
Mm.
But when is it time to put our pets to sleep?
Yeah. It's. See, the trouble is that this is a very personal, individual decision, and there's no two pets that'll be the same, and it's very difficult to say, okay, when this happens, that's the time. You know, the best, what I used to say to people when I worked at the vets was when the bad days outnumber the good days, then it's time to make a decision. And ultimately, it all comes down to quality of life rather than quantity. Because sometimes we're offered the chance to extend our pets' lives with medication or therapies, and that gives us a bit more time with them, but at what cost to their quality? Is it really worth extending your pet's life if the quality of that life isn't going to be what they deserve or what they need? So it's really all about quality of life. That is the deciding factor as to when the time has come to say goodbye. And there are quite a few quality of life scales that you can download and print off, which have questions on pets' mobility, toileting, behaviour, eating, drinking. And you have to be brutally honest with these forms. You have to be brutally honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, if you downplay what your pet's going through, the only one that's affected really is your pet. And obviously you don't want to, um, have them suffer in any way. And so if you fill out these quality of life scales, it helps if every member of the family fills one out, it helps everyone to see where everyone thinks their pet is at, and you can all come to a decision together. And it also helps the vet to look through it and help you make a decision. Maybe there is treatment they can offer you to help in the meantime, like palliative care. But ultimately, it's the quality of life that really matters, and that's the deciding factor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, do say say dogs for example.
Mm.
Do dogs know when they are going to be put down?
So this is something I've often thought about. Do dog because you see these posts about on Facebook when people say, they look for you when you're gone and they're scared, and they know. But personally, I mean, I can't speak as professionally because I really don't know for certain, and I don't think anybody does. But personally, I would have thought that they wouldn't realise that this appointment is going to be the final appointment. I honestly don't feel that they know that they're about to die. I really don't feel that they have any fear of what is to come. I feel that there may be the normal amount of nerves because we're at the vets, and not every dog or pet likes being at the vets, because it usually leads to being prodded and poked and thermometers up bottoms and injections, and so I can imagine there's the normal amount of nerves that may be associated with a vet visit. But I personally don't think that they're aware that, because how would they tell, unless they go off our demeanour and our behaviour and tone. But even then, I don't think they would realise that what is about to happen. So, yeah. And I don't think it'd be really difficult to sort of do studies on their cognitive functions and brain function and how emotional state before and after, before euthanasia, to determine for certain whether they're aware or not. I think dogs are aware when another dog has died or is about to, or is dying, actively dying, or is passed already. But I don't think that they're actually aware of their own impending passing,
Yeah. Should you be with your dog when it's put to sleep?
Should you what, sorry?
Should you be with your dog when it's decided to be put to sleep?
See, that is it's a personal decision. There is no right or wrong. There are varying opinions on this. Some people will say, you must be with your pet at the end. There's no excuse. You're wrong if you don't. And there are those that, and I don't agree with that. I think that if you can be with your companion at the end, do so. If you feel up to it, if you feel you could, then do it. But if for whatever reason you don't feel you could handle it mentally or emotionally, then don't. Let somebody else go in with them that they know and trust and love. And or it may be that you leave them at the vets, and because you just cannot bear to be there at all. And when I worked in the vets, I held many a dog as they were put to, as euthanasia took place, and the owners, for whatever reason, just couldn't stay. And it pains me to think that people were being judged for not staying with them at the end, as if they didn't love them anymore or they didn't care enough, otherwise they'd have been there. But one of my friends is a pet bereavement counsellor too in Australia, and she said that one of her clients that she helped, I think she said that their dog had developed cancer and they'd lost a child to leukemia. And the owners just could not bear to see another loved one die because of cancer, and they could not be there at the end for the euthanasia of their dog, or whatever. I can't remember the pet itself. It may have been a dog. And I just think, would people judge that family knowing their history, knowing what they've already been through? Or would they think, do you know what, I understand you can't be there because of that reason? So it bothers me when people judge when they don't know the story, when they don't know why somebody cannot be present. And yeah, you'll get people that just are like, no, I don't care. I really genuinely don't care. I'm just going to leave them and go. But for the majority of people, they're not present, not because they don't want to be, but because they can't, because there's some other reason that we aren't privy to, or they would rather their last memory be a happy one. And there's no judgment, and there's no need to judge somebody when you don't know the full story. And besides which, if you do leave your pet behind at the vets, they get loved on, they get lots of cuddles. We used to give them bits of our dinner, give them treats, anything they wanted. So they're not alone. They're not, they're being loved on. They're being cuddled by the staff. It's, if you can't be there, you can't be there, and only you know why you can't. And it's not for anyone else to judge you on your decision.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, of course not. Um, the trouble is, so when I remember putting my dog down, and it was tough. It was really, really hard, and
Yeah.
I couldn't even get a pet. I couldn't even get another pet for quite a while because I was still going through that bereavement
Mm.
you know point. Um, when is it time to get another pet?
Again, this is like a very personal decision, and there is no right or wrong time, because a few of my clients that I've spoken to in the past have said that they're worried about taking on a new companion because they felt like they were replacing the one that they've lost, or were worried about other people maybe judging them for taking on a new companion when they may have felt it was too soon. But you can never replace the one that you've lost, and you would want to. But you're replacing the normality of having a pet in the home, or a dog, or a specific breed, or specific kind of pet in the home. And they're not a replacement; they're a new addition to the home and your life and your family. And
Yeah,
so, for me, I think if you're thinking about it, then that's the right time, you know, because I don't think it's something that you would consider unless you were in that mindset or in that place to do so. I think it's important just to give yourself a little break, just to start to come to terms with the loss, but just make sure that you're taking on a new companion to, you know, to help heal in a way and bring comfort, but as an addition because you want a new addition, not because you want a distraction, which would or take on a new companion so that you don't have to think about who you've lost because you're concentrating on your new companion. Because otherwise we get so caught up and distracted with the new addition that we have that we push down all the feelings that we should be dealing with, and in the long run it's not particularly healthy to do that. But there is no right or wrong time to get a new pet. You know, some people wait a couple of days, some people wait weeks or months. For some people, it could be years. But it's whatever you feel is right by you, and you're doing it for the reasons that it's, you know, obviously it's just to, you want, you know, you want another pet, but you don't want them because you're trying to replace who you've lost, or because you want a distraction so you don't have to think about the feelings that you really need to be going through. You see what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. The trouble is, when we're going through that sense of kind of like loss of our pets and everything, people will say, people will wonder, you know, when our pets finally go, what usually happens to them. Can you? I know we talked on this before, but because I've been asked the questions and everything, can you kind of like try to answer them?
Yeah. So you mean like when they're left at the vets, or
Yeah. What would happen?
right? Yeah. So after euthanasia, if you didn't, you have like the options of taking your pet home for home burial. That's
Right.
always an option, but you'd have to make sure that you were allowed to do that. Whether you have to make sure that your land isn't on any like water courses or anything like that, or that you own the property. You know, so if you're in rented accommodation, obviously that would be a potential issue. Um, but if you were to leave your companion at the vets, then you would usually opt for cremation. And the options with cremation is either individual cremation, where you would receive the cremains back in various boxes and caskets and urns, or there's like a communal cremation where more than one pet would be cremated at the same time, and you wouldn't receive any cremains back. So those are like your main options. But with regards to cremation, you don't necessarily have to use the crematorium that your vet uses. If there's another one that you would prefer, you can always make arrangements with them to collect your companion either from your home or from the vets if you make arrangements with them and the vet, and they will collect your companion. And if you leave your companion at the vets and use their crematorium, then usually there are set days of the week where they will come to collect any companions for cremation. And then within it's usually up to 2 weeks, you will receive.
They don't collect the They don't collect the dog straight away. Then.
It depends on the practice, I suppose. I know when I used to work in practice years ago, we had twice weekly collection of any companions that needed to go, were required to go for cremation. But some practices, I think, actually run their own crematoriums, so it may be done like the same day or within 24 hours of the euthanasia or the pet being brought in. It just depends on the practice, I suppose. But up to 2 week, bi-weekly collection, I don't think is too far from the norm. But your companion would be held in cold storage until until the crematorium come to collect them. But again, it's up to yourself whether you want to arrange for the crematorium to if you can even take your pet to the crematorium yourself. If you were to give the crematorium a call, arrange where you take your companion to the crematorium yourself, and then usually you can wait while the cremation takes place and then bring your companion home that day. And that's ideal for those that want to see exactly what goes on and may have had like misgivings about what actually goes on. So sometimes you are able to actually watch the cremation happen if you felt inclined to do so. But it does depend on the crematorium, and you would probably need to make advance arrangements for that just to make sure your wishes are met, sort of thing, or plans are put in place to help it go as smoothly as possible.
Great, great. And because if people are thinking, like, to take a moment and everything, there's certain guides and ways that you can't do things because, I've been told that if you've got cancer poverty, that is out too, isn't it?
Yeah. It all depends on where you are, and just making sure that you ask, and make sure that everything, that there's no hiccups or potential hurdles to, the last thing you want to be dealing with when you're dealing with the loss of a companion is any potential obstacles getting between you and your pet's final, resting place, I suppose.
Yeah, it's really sad. Lastly, what I want to talk about is how, if we need counselling, okay, after our pets die.
Yeah.
How do we find the right counsellor for us?
Okay, yeah. So obviously it's very important that you connect with your counsellor, that you feel comfortable, because at the end of the day, this is somebody that you don't know, that you are likely to be talking to them about something that's very sensitive, very emotional and raw and painful. And so it's important that whoever you speak to, you feel connected with, you feel comfortable talking to them. And I know it can be difficult because obviously they're a stranger and you only get, initially, like I say, an hour to talk to somebody and get an idea of how you feel and how you feel it's going. But I think it's worth speaking to people, maybe asking if they do like an initial chat first, just to see if you get on. I offer a free 10-minute initial chat to any potential new clients because I want them to be able to just chat to me, find out how I work and what I do, and just see if they feel comfortable talking to me. And then we could book like an hour's session, which can be like a one-off, or I offer like 3 1-hour block sessions. But I think it's best to call the person that you're considering, have a chat with them, just see whether they do like an initial chat. And because I'm sure they'd understand, because they'd want you to be comfortable, because they want you, like I personally would want people to feel comfortable saying things that, for me, it's like, this is your chance to say those things that you can't tell anyone else for fear that they may not understand, or the things that you may think other people are tired of hearing. We never get tired of hearing it. And it's not trauma dumping. It's, you're not bothering us. We want you to be able to get everything off your chest, get everything out there that you need to, and know that you've been heard, listened to, and understood. And so yeah, you've got to, I think you'd know when you find the right person. It'll be somebody that won't push you into paying for session, like multiple sessions, or they won't push you. I'd imagine they wouldn't be salesy or anything like that. They would genuinely just want to help you, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you through your grief and loss. And if you don't feel comfortable with that person, then try and speak to others and find someone that you do feel comfortable with, because that's important.
Carrie, how do people contact you, please?
So me personally, I'm on Facebook, Carrie Kearns Pet Bereavement. You can call me or message me on 075 222 02498, or my website is www.animalbereavementcounselling.com. I'm happy to answer any questions, set up an initial chat, anything like that. So yeah, always happy to help if I can.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Carrie, for another month.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please,
Right.
if you need any information, please contact her. She always comes back. Thank you for everything that you do when you come back and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.